Welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about a technique that advocates use when cross-examining a witness in order to get the witness to agree to a point or a conclusion that you want to put to them. And I'm going to refer to an analogy that you might find helpful, and the analogy is boiling the frog. Now, to my vegetarian and vegan brothers and sisters out there, don't come for me. Boiling the frog is not supposed to be taken literally. It is an analogy, all right? So I'm not in my kitchen boiling frogs, I'm not eating frogs, so don't come for me. Right, so now that we've got that out of the way. The analogy boiling the frog is an analogy that we use in cross-examination to describe the technique of gradually applying pressure to a witness in cross-examination. And so you're asking questions of the witness that appear to be quite innocuous to begin with, and then gradually you're applying the heat to the witness and you are putting more and more contentious matters to the witness in order to secure their agreement, hopefully, or to demonstrate that your conclusion is plausible. If you place a frog in boiling water, so if you have a pot on your cooker and you place that frog in the pot of boiling hot water, what is the frog going to do? Well, if the frog has any sense, the frog is going to just leap out of the pot and leap away to the garden or wherever. However, if you put the frog in a pot of cold water and you gradually turn up the heat, the frog has no idea what's happening to them. The frog is going to stay in that pot and the heat is going to be applied gradually and more and more and more until it's too late. The frog is not going to be able to leap out of the pot of hot water because the frog has been boiled to death. Well, that's what you're trying to do to some extent in cross-examination. You're trying to apply the pressure gradually. The witness has no idea what you're doing to them. And by the time that they realise what the point is that you are taking the witness to, it's too late. The witness is not going to be able to backtrack or to back down. So in the context of cross-examination, you would have already worked out what your conclusions are on a particular issue. It might be that your conclusion is that the witness is mistaken, they did not see your client committing the offence. It's a case of mistaken identification, for example. So that might be your conclusion. And so what you need to do when you're boiling the frog is to start the cross-examination with some innocuous questions that you know the witness is going to agree to. And so you're trying to establish a pattern of agreement before you tackle the more contentious questions, or before you ask the more contentious questions. And so what you're doing is you're applying the pressure gradually during the course of your cross-examination. You're building to that contentious question right at the end of your block of questioning when you put your conclusion. So let me show you what I mean. Here we have an example of boiling the frog. The case is a case of criminal assault. The complainant was assaulted in a pub. Prosecution witnesses have given evidence that the defendant, let's assume the defendant is your client, was the person who committed the assault. And the defence is mistaken identification. So assume that you are going to cross-examine one of the prosecution witnesses who identified the defendant as the person who committed the assault, the person who assaulted the complainant in the pub. Let's assume that your conclusion on one of the issues that you're going to cross-examine this witness about is that they are mistaken in what they say they observed that night in relation to your client's actions, and that they're mistaken because they were not sober. They were drunk when they observed the incident that took place at the pub. So you might have some questions like this. You've explained to the court that you were at the pub celebrating your 21st birthday. And the witness will say, yes, that's correct. Then you could ask, you had taken an Uber to the pub? Yes, I did. So presumably you were planning to take an Uber home at the end of the evening. Yes, that was the plan. So you were not going to be doing any driving that night. Witness, no, I wasn't. Defence advocate, so there was no need for you to moderate your drinking that night, was there? No, not really. And you've mentioned to the court that you'd had a few drinks at night before the fight started. Yes, I had. You arrived at the pub at 7:30 that night, correct? Yes. The fight started at about 11 p.m, didn't it? Yes, around that time. So you see what's happening here. These are all questions that the witness is agreeing to. And the reason why the witness is able to agree to these questions is because they're not contentious. We're probably using the evidence that they've given before to formulate the questions, or we're just using common sense. And so the witness is just indicating agreement to what's being suggested to them. And so here, a pattern of agreement is being established. And when you're able to establish a pattern of agreement, it makes it harder for the witness to disagree, because there is a rhythm to the questions that are being asked. The advocate is building momentum, and there's nothing contentious in what's being asked of the witness. And so heat is being applied gradually. Were you drinking spirits or beer? I was drinking beer. Were they half pints or full pints? Full pints. Now, you've noticed that with these questions, were you drinking spirits or beer? Were they half pints or full pints? We're not able to lead the witness here because we just don't know. This evidence has not been elicited during the examination chief or direct examination. And so we can't ask leading questions here. We're trying to explore here what was consumed during the night. So we have to ask rather than tell the witness. So the witness has said 4 pints. How many pints did you drink before the start of the fight? Again, we don't know how many pints the witness had consumed, so we have to ask in a non-leading way. I think I had about 5 or 6 pints, the witness says. So here we're going to lead. So it would be fair to say that you were not entirely sober when you observed the 2 men fighting. Now, you've noticed that we've turned up the pressure here. We're turning up the heat on the cross-examination here. Now, the witness says, yes, that's fair to say. And of course, the witness has to agree with that, because if you've consumed 6 pints, then of course you're not going to be sober. The defence advocate then goes on to say, in fact, it would be more accurate to say that you were very drunk, wouldn't it? I'm not quite sure what the witness is going to say here, but it doesn't matter. As I've said in previous videos on cross-examination, as long as you put your conclusion, it doesn't matter if the witness disagrees with your conclusion. You've put your case, and in building to your conclusion will appear plausible. So in summary, what you really want to do when you're boiling the frog is to seek agreement before you put the disputed matters to the witness. You want to keep control by asking mainly leading questions as far as possible. You want to establish a pattern of agreement with the witness. Make sure that you're pitching your questions precisely and with care to ensure that the witness does accept those questions, those non-contentious questions. And then, of course, put your conclusion on the issue that you have questioned the witness about. So I hope you found this video useful. I'll see you in the next one.